Good enough. That's the joke we always lead in with. It's as original as it gets. Have you ever listened to any other podcasts? They're not like this. They're about things.
I know. They've
No, they're
kind of
not.
been, dare I say, insufferable after a certain point.
I think we're in this. I mean, it's not like we're in a middle ground. It's sort of like we're, who would have thought it, way out there on our own. Where there are really two types of podcasts, as far as I can tell. Tell me what you think. There's the sort of like myself, the political editor of the New York Times, with this person who used to be George W. Bush's foreign policy advisor, and this person. We do a podcast where we talk about foreign policy. And it's always sort of like, oh, this should be an actual show. Like, we've reached a point now where there are so many people clamoring to talk about things that actually interesting people with interesting topics are sort of sidelined into a podcast. There's that, and then there's, the other side, which is just, oh, I'm going to talk about whatever, something specialist. I'm going to talk about, this is a Pokemon podcast. All we do is talk about Pokemon, or whatever, skateboards, whatever kids are into these days. And we're not either of those. We have nothing to say, but we also don't even have a subject to sort of loosely not say anything about.
Yes, but we'll probably talk about, our schoolyard days for, like 20 minutes just to warm up.
Again.
With the same stories we must have told a million times at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to listen to loads. After a certain point, I just the appeal wore off when I realized that I really don't care to hear about what people think about things anymore. It's the idea of that on a fundamental level is like, I should do this because people will really do will be interested in what I think about this, that, and the other. And it's like, as soon as I quantify it like that, it immediately turns me off, and I kind of stop listening to a lot of those things overnight.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. It's sort of like in the free form, you've either got to be sort of actually telling me something that I'm interested in, and then I'm not really interested in what you're saying anyway. I just want the information. Or you've got to be entertaining, and yeah, like I say, we're neither. So
yeah,
just out there on our own.
Yes, well, I'm here just to kill a couple of hours. It's been a void of inactivity up here in
That
lockdown.
should be the tagline to the podcast. Sans Hosen, we wouldn't listen to it.
You're close.
Little Slytherin pumpkin.
Give them to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really watch YouTube anymore either. I don't know, like, maybe I should feel more guilty about that, but I don't. I sort of remember, doing my degree in film, and film teachers saying, like, you need to get the trade journals and read the trade journals and all of this. Sort of like, no, you don't. You need to read one of them. It's the same information every time. Things don't change. Like, yeah, I don't know.
So what would you glean from a trade journal? I'm not...
Well, I mean, if you've never read one before, then you'd probably glean quite a lot on how things work. Oh, this is how we do casting in this country or state or whatever. But then after that, once you sort of have a basic understanding, it's not just for film; it's surely for anything. It's only really going to be changes which probably aren't going to affect you. Like, oh, the Actors Union have changed something so that you can no longer just randomly flash them whilst they're on set. I mean, you can. You just, you shouldn't. Before it was absolutely encouraged.
Now it's a no-no. It's a faux pas.
Yeah, I remember Ian McKellen talking about being on stage I think before he was famous, he was doing a play, and he's one of those, a working actor doing a play, doing something like 7 shows a week. And you end up doing, 90 shows sort of basically back to back. I can't remember what it was, but he said at the end of it, there's a bit where his character has to flash the other actors. He's like wearing a trench coat, and he turns his back to the audience and opens up his trench coat, and all the actors go, "Whoa!" And obviously he's not really nude, but that's the joke. But then on his last day, he just was nude for a laugh. He just, flashed them, and they all like burst out into hysterics. And yeah, I wonder if you could get away with that now.
After that, he couldn't get arrested in this town anymore.
There's another one. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Jim Davidson, but that doesn't sound right. Where they were on stage and they had to like chug a bottle of. Their character had to chug a bottle of vodka, which was water. And on like the opening night, someone replaced it with an actual bottle of vodka.
And immediately chonded.
Immediately made it much more fun. Cardinal Puff. Anyway, Damien, how are you?
Delightful. I will be, I think. It's hard to tell. I should, by the time this is up, I should have finally left this house. I should be in London. I don't know. I discussed that I have a high opinion of that city. Well, I should be back out in the open again. Interacting with other human beings. It should be.
When you say the open, what we haven't said is that Damien's actually seeded number 36 in the open. You're playing Andre Agassi's cousin or something, aren't you?
No, I mean like in the outdoors. I mean, I'm technically homeless at this point. I'm returning to London, having packed in everything at my essentially a flat I never lived in. So should be fun. I'll be hopefully my that cardboard box will be holding up.
Were you paying rent on that while you weren't there?
Yes, I was.
Jesus.
Yeah, no.
Dude. And when you say flat, it was a room in somebody else's flat.
Sorry, to clarify that, it was just a room in someone else's house.
You never did tell me about the landlord. You've always threatened that several times. Is that interesting enough to talk about the podcast? That's a silly question. I think last week I talked about my mattress for half an hour. In a positive way as well. It wasn't even like there was a funny story. Oh, yes, I found a homeless person had been living in my mattress for the last 30 days. I didn't even realise. I wondered why it was lumpy and snoring.
Well,
Nothing, just it's completely satisfactory. 4 stars.
Yes, and I think I said I would try it myself, lying through my fucking teeth because I had nothing better to say.
So your landlord, he was a nut job.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how interesting it is. I think it could be quite typical of a lot of people's experiences with landlords, but he was just a hateful piece of shit. I turned up to this place. I mean, when I turned up for the viewing, I had actually had another place lined up, and I put money down on that and the other. But the day before I was set to move in, I get a call from the estate agent saying the landlord has decided to refurbish the flat, so you can't move in now. So I've already left my previous flat, and I'm kind of in between. I'm just couch surfing at this point. I've got nowhere to fucking live.
What a dickhead! And you got your money back.
Of course, yeah.
But nothing.
But I've been
nothing
chasing.
To say, sorry, you were meant to move in tomorrow. We don't give a shit if you're homeless or anything.
Yeah, so I given them the deposit, and I was chasing them up for all the papers, that I could sign something and put something in black and white. And since I hadn't done that, they said, he's changed his mind, because this was a tiny room. It was essentially the size of a broom cupboard, but with everything that was going on, I'd lost my.
Damien, had he found your digital footprint?
No, but he got a very bizarre call from the Apple store in Covent Garden. I'll read my Mac Mini.
Their detective department.
Yes, they felt the need to ruin my credit history. This man cannot be entrusted with any assets whatsoever. I found a room that cheap as you could probably get in London. It was 400 quid, and I think the landlord just realised that, wow, people were actually happy to pay that even for such a dodgy little room. Maybe I can make some more if I put some curtains in.
A floor.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I imagine like when you're describing it, it was more or less like a cage in 12 Monkeys, where you didn't have a floor. It was like a grill to somebody else's room, which also didn't have a floor. It was just a grill. So there was no like bathroom or anything. You just sort of piss where you stand, and it goes all the way down to the London Underground.
Yes, that was going to be the fun part of it. Yeah.
Which they've sort of doubled up as a canalways. Just the tubes are just sloshing through piss and shit, whilst like someone's steering a gondola singing away. Oh, I'm in Kilburn, la 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 la. 7 sisters on my gondola.
On a clear, clear and quiet night, you can hear it in the distance. It's nice, soothing. The ambience. Yeah.
Yeah, you know where I live, Indianapolis. The canal. I don't know if they are still around, but before COVID, I say before COVID because that's the last time I went outside. They had gondolas there during the summer, and I always thought it'd be like really fun if I bought myself like a faux fur coat and started to try and unionize them. Indianapolis is beholden to the gondola union. They've been on strike for the last 2 weeks. The city's at a standstill. Sorry, go on. Tell me about your landlord.
Yeah, so I mean, when I went to this place, I think I was far too upfront about that information that I was royally fucking danged. And this guy took the fucking piss from day one.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean, this guy advertised weekly pay, and he advertised all bills included. And then turns out, he advertised the weekly pay that he advertised was used to calculate the monthly rent. So what I was expecting to pay $580 for suddenly became $628 when he figured it out. And then upon moving in, he said, like, actually, well, it includes all the bills, but not tax, because tax is not a bill, I think was his fucking logic. So council tax was not included. So, well, you can pay your own. That'll be £70, or you could opt into my plan for an additional £20. And that'll be that. So what was advertised as $580 a month it's now $648 and 33 pence. Within 2 weeks, right? This guy was such a mithering little control freak fuckhead. Within 2 weeks, he changed some of the terms of the contract we'd already both signed. Something marginal. I thought, fine, he's already fucked me off. He's clearly a bit of a fucking prick. I'll just give it a wide berth and just kind of roll over. Days later, it's like, yeah, no, the rent's gone up as well. It's like, what do you mean the rent's fucking gone up? It's like, yeah, it's nothing much. It's just £1.67. And it's like, right, so you
to get it to a round number.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, this guy was so fucking fastidious about things like that. It just feels like, dude, you should have, if you wanted $650 for that fucking room, you should have just fucking advertised that. And of course, when I rocked up there, I told them that my budget was basically, $600 or under. Of course, you have to do that, because if you advertise that, I wouldn't have fucking touched this place. I seem to remember that the service that I was using through an app called Spare Room, he contacted me as well. It's not that I reached out to this fucker.
I like the cut of your jib, young man. Want to live with me?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you pay a deposit?
I did, yes.
Did you get it back?
No, it's on its way back, but he's given me this bullshit that the estate agents are kind of reluctant to kind of do this, that, and the other. It's like, bullshit. I know it's the landlord that has the fucking final say when the deposit is released. So can you just give me the fucking okay and just send it back? And he's
now. I'll tell you something, right? And I know this through experience. Right, even if he gives it you all back, and there's no issue, if he hasn't put it into a deposit protection scheme, you can get a CCJ on him, a county court judgment, and they'll award you it back plus automatically.
Okay.
If you want to pursue that.
Oh yeah, well, I'll ask you a bit more about that when we're kind of off mic, because I'd like any way I could fucking stick it to this fuckhead. I mean,
yeah,
all right, that's
you just need to contact the Citizens Advice Bureau, and they'll help you.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't done that in, nigh on 10 years, but it can't have changed that much. Can it? Can it, Boris?
Normally I wouldn't really care, but this guy was odious. I mean, so that's kind of typical landlord shit. I mean, a lot of people have had that kind of stuff. Maybe not quite the fraudulent advertising that he should be fucking brought to bear for. But when I went for this viewing, and already, he was just he did not waste any time wanting to talk about the coronavirus being an absolute fucking sham and a hoax. And
A sham and a hoax.
Sham and a fucking hoax. Didn't believe anything. Or he kept.
Did he say it's a sham or did he say it's a shame? It's a This is a shame. This is a terrible shame.
This is a sham. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all this kind of shite about the numbers not adding up, and he managed to elaborate in great detail because he was, he really pushed me to put the deposit down pretty much straight away, which I did because I made no secret, that I was desperate and I needed a place to live, so I did. But this is the one guy that I've ever dealt with in terms of transferring money via the internet, which I think is pretty normal now.
Yeah.
He told me that every internet transfer is always instantaneous, and because he hadn't received it immediately, he would not let me leave until he had it in his account. Which when I've done stuff like that, it'd be best if it's a weekday, it's usually like an hour or something like that. It's not instant at all. So he wanted to sit down on his fucking patio out back for the better part of an hour and wait until he got that money in before he would kind of comfortably let me leave. And this is when he took this time to elaborate on all the numbers and statistics not quite adding up and this, that, and the other. And I don't remember any of it because it's just not worth, allocating any space in your fucking head for that kind of horrible fucking bullshit. He tried to, he gave me a cup of tea, right? And I'm still there in a fucking face mask because I don't trust this guy, and I think he's giving me stacks about all these numbers and what have you. Because he thinks he's talking to me like I'm a sheep, because I'm being responsible wearing a face mask because I don't know what the fuck's going on. Lord knows I can't afford to get fucking sick, just in case. Makes me a cup of tea, and he washes the mug. You would think with, fairy liquid and a sponge, and just cold water in his fucking hands it to me. It's like, how about that? It's like, I spend like the next 45 minutes holding a cup of tea knowing I'm not going to fucking put that anywhere near my fucking mouth. You wretched son of a bitch. Even if you don't believe in coronavirus, which is ludicrous. That's just fucking disgusting. Yeah, absolutely fucking disgusting. Thank you very much. It wasn't...
Yeah.
And I would never give someone like that the time of day if it wasn't for the fact that I was obviously in a tough spot. But it went from fucking... things like that kept going on. After a while, I forget how... we got onto a conversation. I was always very polite to him, and I think he was always... And you can tell he was quite a lonely guy. He was a live-in landlord, clearly no fucking family, or friends or what have you. So he did like to kind of talk people's ear off and what have you. But somehow we got onto the topic of Jeffrey Epstein one day. And because, he grew up in...
God. I know where
Penzance.
this is going. Yeah, go on.
Penzance, his parents owned a hotel. And, when he was a kid, he used to work in the kitchens and he worked in the hotel trade for a long, long time. So what he was familiar with is he kept using the word courtesans, and familiar with the trade and traffic therein. And he used to see a lot of these really, really young girls that were completely strung out, doing it for the drugs and this, that, and the other, being kind of abused and manipulated by all these men. And
well, I mean, being, prostitutes.
Yes, well,
being abused and manipulated, but a transaction was happening, right? It wasn't just like someone living under the stairs.
No, he was referring to a particular story in a.
Is that what he was saying? Was he
No,
saying you were underage, or
no? There was a story about something he'd witnessed in a club or some kind of function, something to do with where he was working. Where these were girls that weren't prostitutes, but they were they were pursuing a certain lifestyle where they were manipulating men for their money, using their looks and this and that, what have you. So he
Right.
got onto this topic of Jeffrey Epstein somehow, and he had no because of those experiences. All of the children that Epstein had raped, they knew what they were doing, and so therefore weren't victims. Were his words. And not only that, of course, that because
they knew what they were doing, they couldn't have been victims.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking 100%. Okay, yeah, fine, okay. But and the other thing that he wanted to elaborate on was that because Jeffrey Epstein's dead body wasn't, laid open casket in, like in state for people to witness. That means he's not dead. He was always working for the Israelis, and he's living quite comfortably in Israel now.
He was always working for the Israelis, doing what?
Well, just gathering the dirt on the Western world, so they can, give the goods to his real native government and hopefully swing the balance of power in that region.
Yeah, right. Okay. So what was the? Okay, I see.
No questions
what
were
else
asked. No questions were asked. I just kind of like nod with a blank face, like it's been a long day. I'm gonna go to fucking bed. Thanks, mate. And for the longest time, I keep giving him a wide berth, and but he does a couple of months down the line say like, "Hey, we do like a Christmas dinner here at the house for everybody."
We do. It's just you and him, right?
Oh no, there's like eight rooms in this place, and they're all full. There's like
you didn't say that. Oh, okay. So it's one of those. So is it like a shared bathroom between 8 people?
Yeah, well, there's one on each floor, so it's like one
Yeah.
bathroom between kind of four rooms basically.
I think I might have met this dude. Yeah, go on.
And
Did he have a car where the passenger door didn't have a handle?
no.
No, okay, all right. Just wondering.
Okay, what's that all about?
That was healing anyway. No, nothing that weird. Just I remember looking for a room in London at one point, and he wasn't a landlord. He was just an estate agent. But I've never met anyone who exudes the sort of that desperation. And he drove a hatchback with like, I think his car door, the driver car door, was a different color, but then the passenger door was obviously an original, but you couldn't open it from the inside. He had to get out and open it for me, like I was a colonel getting out of a staff car.
Right.
And obviously tip my hat and everything. Yeah. No, but I know exactly what you mean with those sorts of houses. They're I don't know if they're unique to London exactly, but they're in Britain, they're definitely unique to London, I'd say. They're these like really old houses that at one point would have belonged to a family of like 3 or 4 with like a servant living, in the basement quarters, who no doubt had a bigger room than you do now. And basically they're big houses that have been chopped up gradually, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's not like
I mean, they all. Yeah.
It's not like a huge Victorian house. It's kind of an attached thing in North London. It's relatively modern, I would say, kind of like 60...
What do you mean it's attached?
An attached house. So it's basically like a long... just a long row of houses, basically. It's not like an old... It's sort of an old kind of Victorian thing. It's relatively modern. I would say 50s, 60s, something like that.
Right. Yeah. Right. I see.
They don't have like servants' quarters or anything like that. But yeah, you'd say like a family with like 2 or 3 kids maybe would live very comfortably there. But then it's been chopped up into 8 rooms. Well, 8 separate residences within the house.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the one I looked at, one of the features was the room has a wardrobe in it. That's staying. Promise you, it's staying. And that told me it wasn't when he said that. But anyway, go on.
So he invited me to the house Christmas dinner, and he said he was kind of inviting, it'd be obviously the other tenants and a few of his friends or what have you. So all right, I'll be he already asked me, what I was working, and I told him he already knew that I was free that evening, which wouldn't have been the case if the flow of information had been the other way around, of course. So I thought I'd be polite and not try and and just go along because I had no out. And when I do get there, I think only one other couple from the house had turned up, and the rest already, figured to kind of give that a fucking wide berth and just say they were working, just even without being asked. It's like, yeah, I'm working. Sorry, got to go. The friends in question were previous tenants, and it was gross. It was absolutely gross because they were the kind of like the slimiest kind of like beta males you could possibly find, and they were just kind of kissing his ass about everything. It's like, do you not have your own lives at all?
So it was two dudes.
Yes.
Two like a couple.
No. They were just two separate tenants from different times. I think one of them was from 5 years ago, something like that, and they're still in touch.
I like the way I said that, like it's the 70s, and it's like I'm cool with gay people. Yeah, I know. Yeah, two. Are you a couple? I didn't mean it like that. I was just sort of trying to establish. So they didn't know each other. They were just separate tenants.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I see. And how were they licking his ass?
Well, just everything he said.
All tongue.
Everything he said was either interesting. Every joke was always funny, and the man just was neither of those things. He talked a lot of bullshit, and his jokes were just way off. And yeah, they were just down for all of it. The landlord. I wasn't sure where he was from, but so I would say something. I know he speaks Farsi. I think somewhere from like the Persian Gulf, somewhere like that. And you've got some of these guys, presumably from like I don't give me somewhere that's in London that's obviously middle class but not wealthy. It's something like that.
Ealing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
There's. They clearly have nothing.
I mean, all of it now, I guess.
I suppose so.
Don't know.
They were just too accommodating.
Middle class, but not wealthy, yeah.
Accommodating far too much. One was like in his 40s, the other was, like early 20s, and like there's no common ground here. There really isn't. And for whatever reason, years after the fact, you're still in touch with your old landlord. It's odd. These were people that were clearly equally starved for attention and company, and it was slimy. It was absolutely fucking slimy. And it was all fine for a long time. I think a couple of other people joined. It became a bit more normal when normal people joined. Food was terrible, of course, but I had to be polite, and because they knew I worked as a chef, I had a lot of questions about that. It's like, well, what do you think about this? And I have to be polite, and then subject somehow starts turning to Star Trek and then Star Wars, and that's when this is moments
That's
before
when the fight broke out.
Kind of. And it was moments before I had to duck out because it got onto the topic of the last three Star Wars movies and the topic of diversity in these Star Wars movies. And the landlord was quite happy about saying, they were all right, but there were too many black people in Star Wars. It's just like I don't believe it's Star Wars anymore because it's just too black. And there are too many black people on TV as well. This isn't Africa, And that's just like, I'm sorry. I think my phone's ringing upstairs. I've just got to fucking go. Thanks very much. I'll see what I can do about coming back and helping out with the dishes. And of course, that's everyone was kind of talking, sharing drinks. That the other place went fucking silent, and like, well, what on earth? I mean, what on earth?
Have you seen the last three Star Wars films?
No, I haven't. I saw Force Awakens 5 years ago. I saw it in IMAX.
There aren't that many black people in it.
No,
I gotta say,
really?
Casting my mind back. I mean, right.
I know it was heralded
There's too
for
many
a lot
black
of its,
people in Black Panther.
I've got a problem with the name, to be honest.
Yeah. Right. Okay. But was he? I don't know. I mean, was he saying that to be a dickhead, or did he really
No,
believe that? It's a weird thing to give a shit about, I think.
Well,
in
he
a
was
weird,
doing that
in a
very
way.
kind of English thing. It's like, well, I'm not racist, but he was talking about it like it was more of an observation rather than a disgust for an entire race of people.
Yes, because that's what an observation is. An observation wouldn't be saying there's a lot of black people. There's too many.
Yes, he was.
It's just scientific. It's just that's just true.
He did specify too many.
Too many. Right. Okay. And did he? I mean, what can I ask about that?
No,
Jesus
nothing.
Fucking
Nothing.
Christ.
And see, the thing is, I don't know if it was like a sort of power play because you've got a lot of people that are living under his roof that aren't going to
not
argue.
black.
Well, they're not going to argue
right,
with him
okay.
because it's like, well, what do they do? Is he going to give him his notice? Is he going to hike the rates? He's going to fuck with it. He's going to fuck with you. I can imagine that they had similar experiences with me where they'd have kind of odd changes in contract, changes in the bills, or this, that, and the other, or things were advertised differently and nothing's quite clear. They don't know really where they stand. He keeps talking about how his friend's like a lawyer and this, that, and the other, and you get this vibe that he's obviously a control freak, yes, but I got the vibe he's a deeply litigious person as well. And yeah, I guess quite spiteful. So I mean, if he's going to be thinking hateful shit like that, then you just don't know. And I was in the same boat as everyone else, all fucking silent, didn't say a word, just kind of ushered myself out, as kind of quietly and nonchalantly and as passively as I could, because I did not want to start a fight with a landlord that I fucking live with. But that was fucking revolting. And yeah, I think everyone else was the fucking same, but everyone was fucking astonished.
Yeah.
Ah, dear. And yeah, and I mean that was the last hateful thing I heard him saying. But he used to dress inappropriately. He used to like working out in the morning. And
Oh God.
This is a guy.
Was it like Jimmy Savile? Like tiny little running
Yes,
shorts.
absolutely. This guy's like late 40s, early 50s. He's got a huge fucking gut on him. He clearly likes working his arm, big heavy arms. Like I say, I'm not sure where he's from. Like I said, I will say some kind of Persian is kind of as loose and as inflammatory as that probably
Some
is.
sort of Persian. Now I'm just thinking he's a long-haired cat.
No, he was a very hirsute man, very with deeply tanned, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, a lot of short spandex kind of stuff, body clinging clothes. It was just kind of revolting to look at, and there was no shame. You just be there, you get in from home, and he's just there, and everything's bothering, and it's like, yeah, hello, shake hands, talk, and it's like I just don't want to look at this kind of stuff at all.
Not to derail us, because I am very interested in your landlord's spandex gut. I think I just heard one of your dogs go, "Oh, shut up."
Yeah, that'll be Nala. She likes to. I think she has night terrors or something like that.
Is that what we call them? Night terrors. Right. Okay. You see, I didn't know any of this. I thought that you lived in a flat with one man who owned like a 2-bedroom flat. I guess it's better what you're describing, because then you're not, constantly using his furniture.
Yes, well, I mean, I was never outside of my room. There was no living room, no common room or anything like that. You had your bedroom, and then you either went to the kitchen or you went to the bathroom, and then that was it. There was nothing else. But he liked to kind of corner you in the hallways and talk to you about relentless fucking bullshit. Like when I came back from one of the lockdowns, he was talking to me about his dad, and his dad was in the hospital, apparently having tested positive for coronavirus, and he was angry that they'd given him injections at the hospital. It's like, your dad must be in his 70s, for fuck's sake. He's obviously going to need some kind of fucking treatment. Why are you bitter about this? You must have.
What was he angry about exactly? That they had just injections, or did he think they'd injected like nano machines into him?
Well, presumably, yeah. I mean, obviously, he thinks it's all a fucking hoax. It's not real.
Yeah, I knew someone once who told me I knew someone once, I know them now, who told me, yeah, you know what COVID stands for, right? COVID. It doesn't even make sense, like saying it out loud. COVID, comorbidity, vid, digital vaccination.
Oh God.
Digital vaccination, not even electronic vaccination, which is still meaningless, but digital.
Oh.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm not for
cyber vaccination.
ethnic cleansing, but I think they must. When I see people talking like that en masse, you do feel like part of me
What
wants
do you
to.
mean ethnic cleansing?
What I mean is that when I see people like talking about.
Non-ethnic cleansing. Like like cleansing that has nothing to do with ethnicity.
Well, that's why.
Are you a fucking moron? Step right up.
That's the point that I was kind of ambling towards slowly. It's like, well, obviously
Yeah.
that's terrible.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to go into the Italian stuff there. Good. You don't wanna...
There are too many Italians in Star Wars. That's what I folded it up with, and I got a great big hug and a handshake
take
from
this
him.
lightsaber, you motherfucker.
I never found anything that elaborated on like the how and why of like 5G causing the coronavirus. It's just it was what it was. Like, what has led you to believe that? Can you just point me in that direction so I can try and fathom on some level, please?
Yeah, it's what is that? Like it's a cover up by the government because the government have secretly, had a extremely sort of practical committee meeting where they've said, yeah, 5G is causing all these deaths, but it's worth it because the internet's 20% faster. There's just no reason. Who's benefiting?
I don't know. Well, these losers are, because it gives them something to fucking, cut their teeth on, really. I believe this shite. Clearly they're at a loss for, any real kind of activity and meaningful connections with people.
Well, what else did he say about coronavirus? I mean, he obviously, was a skeptic. I mean, it wasn't like he even thought like, oh, it's being overblown. He just thought it was fake.
Yeah.
Or he thought because like you often have these sort of contradictory views come out of people's mouths in the same sentence. Where I've heard people say coronavirus is all fake and it's FEMA. Like, which is it? Is it fake or is it deliberate? It can't be both.
Yes. I divorced myself.
World War
from
II
any...
didn't happen, and it was also the Slovakians who started it. I mean, like which one? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't imagine from the outside they seem like a unified group, but I don't know. Maybe there are warring tribes amongst the COVID conspiracy nuts.
Oh yeah, I would say surely, yeah. I mean, surely it's, surely it's sort of like the same sort of thing as like Christianity in Europe in the 12th century, where you go up the road and it's not really the same religion exactly. It's ever so slightly different sort of thing. I mean, it can't all be unified. Yeah. Isn't it all about sort of, just the, talking shit?
Yeah, no, my point being that, as a rational human being, I tar them all with the same brush and don't really give that a second thought, really. But, yeah, I'd like to be a fly on the wall, really, amongst some of these nut jobs.
What do you think about the UFO things that have been coming out recently from the Pentagon? Have you heard about that?
No, I heard that there was some official secrets thing had lapsed, and they'd released some papers or something like that was going to be a bombshell. That's all I know. What came out?
Well, over the last few years, the Pentagon have released videos of UFOs, unidentified flying objects that they can't explain, and it's it's stuff recorded on F-16s and stuff, and it's very weird. Some of the stuff, and people are saying, "Oh, the Pentagon are taking it seriously." What does this mean? It means there's UFOs. The Pentagon have never said that there's UFOs coming out. Apart from the 40s and 50s and stuff, and it intrigues me because there's more substance to it than, just digital vaccinations or some shit like that. But I don't see why that automatically means aliens. Yeah, I mean, you should check it out because some of the videos are I don't know if I'd say convincing exactly in there being UFOs, but they're definitely convincing in that's weird.
Okay, is there a particular place to go for that you went to for a good kind of glut of information?
You know, if you type in Pentago UFO video and you look on just a major news site, they'll have a video. They'll have videos, and you'll be able to see it there.
Okay.
You know, and some of them, I think there's one where there's a jet tracking something that's going so fast. It looks really weird. It looks like, wow, that's a tiny UFO, like something from Batteries Not Included. And I don't know. I just sort of think like, well, that's something in the infrared gimbal or something. I don't think that's a UFO. But there's other ones where I think one they released recently. It's something like a pyramid-shaped object that looks metallic, and it looks convincing as something very weird. But I just think, well, if there are UFOs, you know, hanging about doing all this shit, fucking with fighter pilots and stuff, like they've not come down and said hi. What can we do? Yeah, they don't want to talk to us. It doesn't look like.
Don't blame him.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, again, I don't want to be too conspiratorial or anything, but me wonders if something else is at play here, which is not necessarily not a conspiracy, but isn't aliens.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, were you talking about? I mean, I think I mentioned it on this podcast before about my grandfather who thought he was recording a UFO above the housing estates. In
That's
Drumfield.
worth telling again if you want to.
Yeah, all right.
Surmise that in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
'cause
well,
I was thinking about that the other day.
My granddad showed me this video he'd taken.
By the way, just for context, Damien's granddad used to work for the British space program.
Yes, he worked on the Blue Streak program. And,
I imagine it was him and Leonard Rossiter in a room trying to work things out, you know, on a chalkboard. But yeah, go on. I mean, he was a very intelligent
yes, he
scientist.
was. But he loved to look to the skies in his twilight years. Yeah, no, he showed me some footage. You know, he had his little video camera in his little hobby room of him zooming in and out on this object suspended in the sky at an unknown distance. It looked miles and miles and miles away. It's only when he would zoom really, really far away and it would come into focus, and then as he zoomed out, it would actually vanish. He couldn't figure. It looked really, really odd, and the footage looked really, really odd. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I couldn't really figure that out." So only after he took that away, went back to his room, had a closer look out the window, he figured out what it was. It was a speck of paint on the window. That's why you could only see it when he looked really, really far away.
Like a really tiny speck of paint, right?
Yeah.
Like one you really could not see, until you got so close to it.
Yes.
And then with the focus of the camera, it made it look like it had movement.
Yes, and and it made it look like it was, like it was very, very far away. It was a very convincing illusion, but yeah. Granted, did a lot of painting in that room, and it was obviously just some backsplash, basically. I'll give my granddad credit for, fessing up, because he was absolutely astounded when he discovered that on film and he had to show us. Because he was all about it, and he really believed that I don't know if he believed they existed, but he really wanted to. And he was really trying to kind of goad me and my dad into, joining that camp. But I'll give him credit for fessing up and saying, I made a serious mistake. It was just paint.
Yeah. If you read about stuff like sundogs and things like that, you can sort of match things like that to a lot of, legitimately weird things people have seen. Like I don't believe that, airline pilots who tell these stories are making things up. I think they've seen some weird fucking what the fuck is that? I just think that there's a lot of atmospheric phenomenon and stuff that we don't understand. I know this sort of sounds like, it's all weather balloons. Yeah. It
sounds like you work for the man. You're part of the machine.
Yeah, hiding it all away. We've been feeding all that shit to Bob Lazar over the years because actually they're among us. Yeah, I don't know. Do you believe in aliens?
No, I don't think so. Um, Universe is a big place, but I mean, surely something must be out there in some form. I don't think it's ever going to be a part of our lives, though. I don't think in any stage really. I think everything's kind of far too remote, far too far away, if at all. I don't think there'll be any kind of contact in any meaningful way if there was any possibility of it existing.
Yeah, I remember reading a book when I was a bit younger, when I still read things, called First and Last Man by Olaf Stapledon. I think it was written in the late 20s, and he was a science fiction writer. Have you ever heard of it?
No, tell me more.
Yeah, so the First and Last Man is a novel from the 20s by Olaf Stapledon. It's pretty interesting as novels go in that it doesn't have any characters. It's very dry and dense. And what it is it's a fictional chronology of, I suppose, mankind's entire existence going into the future. And it sort of starts off fairly slow, where, you know, it goes like 50 years into the future and then a few hundred years into the future, and mankind, obviously this is before nuclear proliferation, nuclear profiteroles. But he has mankind, you know, destroy itself with enormous gas bombs, and then, you know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years later, mankind reemerges as a slightly different species, and he goes through it, and there's 15 different men or humans, you know, sort of human species that emerge over millions and millions of years. And you know, it was written in the 20s, and he didn't think that people were going to get to the moon for hundreds of years.
Right. Okay.
And all of that. But it's interesting in that they never make contact with aliens. They're never able to leave Earth in a meaningful way. They're able to leave Earth, but they're never able to go anywhere and talk to anyone or anything. And I always thought it was really interesting in that it ended where the 15th man, the last man, they've been going so long that the sun has started to expand. And they have to, you know, their technology sort of allows them. They're so technologically sophisticated that they can gradually change the orbit of Earth to sort of try and move away from the sun, but they're never able to get anywhere. And there's I can't remember the line exactly, but there's a specific sort of paragraph somewhere where they're talking about, you know, making spaceships that can travel millions and millions of miles an hour, and the stars just don't move. It's just too big. They, you know, they can go, you know, billions and billions of miles in one direction, but nothing moves because it's all so big. They can't get anywhere. You know, and I guess a lot of well, you know, most science fiction where you're going to different planets and stuff sort of depends on breaking the laws of physics, you know, where you can go faster than light by bending time and space or something. And maybe that is possible, but I remember that book because it I don't know, it seemed to sort of really before that it was even a thing where you would, you know, think you could go to different planets as a sort of common sci-fi thing. It really sort of seemed to dispense with that, you know, as immaturity, and no, we're here and this is it. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and he has them go to Venus and find aliens on Venus, but they're not sophisticated aliens. They're, you know, they're like dolphins and things. And they can never find like another intelligent species, and there might be one out there. It's just they're so far away that they'll never be able to reach them. Yeah, and I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah,
It's
fair
sort
enough.
of,
That sounds intriguing.
yeah.
I've got it. I've got some of the details up in front of me now. I think I will look into that a little bit further. I've just got it's only Wikipedia, but I've just got it's obviously got breakdowns of the various chapters, the men, as it were, right down to the end. You have the subhumans, and I'm hooked by the title, baboon-like submen. That requires further reading, I think, and then of course the seal-like submen, which presumably are the dolphin people you were talking about.
No, I don't think that. No, I don't think they're. I think they're just aliens.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Yeah, no. I mean, he's talking about the sort of evolution and then regression and then evolution of men. I remember the fourth like men are cat men who can close their eyes and run through forests and stuff. It's. I mean, it's it's sci-fi from the 20s, but it's interesting.
Okay.
But I don't know. That's basically my perspective. Like, I don't think that there aren't aliens out there. I just don't see how, it makes a difference, I suppose. Yeah.
That's usually your opinion on anything, though, really. It's like, well, it is what it is. It doesn't make a fucking difference.
Hey, if there were aliens and if they could come here and, share some of their technology, that would be wonderful. It would, wouldn't it? But
Just
they don't
not
seem
gonna
to be up
happen.
for that. I mean, you've got to ask, right? If there are aliens and they've been landing here for the last 70 years and sort of slowly feeding the United States or whatever their technology, what sort of aliens are these? They don't seem very nice. They're happy to go along with this, are they? You'd think aliens would just land wherever they wanted and be like, it's a free for all. Plasma guns, tokamaks.
This is what we're doing, everybody. Line up.
Yeah. Or something. I don't know. I mean, you'd have thought that if aliens landed in the 50s in the United States, they might say, "Oh, you've got a bit of a race problem here. We're not going to deal with that with you until you sort that out," or something. And one of the best cartoons I ever saw was, like a cartoon, a panel cartoon.
Yeah.
It was one panel, and it was Superman, and I think he was queuing up for his social security number or something. And he was saying, it was just one panel and just one speech bubble, and he was saying, "Oh, good day, I'm here for my social security number. Also, the current form of government is unacceptable." Like, wouldn't they do that if they, wouldn't aliens come and be like, "We're going to sort this out the way we see fit,"
Yeah.
or we're not going to have anything to do with you until you're more mature or something, because that's the way humans work. We're so much more mature than we were 1,000 years ago.
Well, yeah, Dan Aykroyd said it best. We're not going to have any meaningful communication with...
You call him Daddy Aykroyd.
Danny Aykroyd.
Papa Aykroyd.
And no meaningful communication with the aliens, especially after 9/11.
The aliens were like, "Fuck this, you're mad."
You've seen these guys, they're fucking mental.
The Empire State Building just takes off. Oh, it's a spaceship all the time. I wonder why no one worked in there. And there are different. Well, I mean, obviously there are different conspiracy theories, but there are different. What's the word I'm looking for? Some seem more plausible than others. Like I said, if you look at some of those videos, they seem really, really believable. Like, what is that? And then others, like the idea that aliens came and helped the Egyptians build the pyramids. Like, what? Were they fucking taking the piss? Did they come to, like, all right, you fucking losers.
Let's pile some rocks up.
Yeah.
You can't figure out that on your own.
Make loads of fucking rocks. Yeah. Do you ever think as well with the way aliens are sometimes depicted, as being nude, hairless, small, and having big heads? Do you think there's something to do with like a fear of human evolution or something there?
How so? I'm not following you with that one. I think the idea that they'd all in the nude is a bit kind of laughable, really. But I'm sure they've got this, if you asked a conspiracy nut job about that kind of stuff, they say, well, actually, what they have is this kind of microbial film all over them that regulates their heat. It's actually a really sophisticated form of translucent clothing, obviously, because aliens.
Like at the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they come out and then, they look like they're in the nude, but then when they, you don't see when your man gets on the ship and they just unzip themselves and it's just like a huge-breasted animal with a massive dong that flaps out. Hello.
Yeah, it's just what it is a full body suit. You don't actually see what the aliens look like at all.
Yeah, there's a zip down the back. They look exactly like us. They're the same size as us as well. It's just someone. It's like a TARDIS in there.
It's a trick of
like
the light.
Cheese made and everything. Huh?
It's a trick of the light.
It's a trick of the light. Full head of hair on those aliens. Yeah, because the whole thing about those aliens looking like that, that's to do. I thought it was to do with the idea of the way we would evolve if we lived in space for a long time, where your legs would become less important and less muscular, and then you would, end up getting sort of longer, more muscular arms because you're constantly pulling yourself up and down the hull of the ISS to get to and from the John. But, these aliens are always depicted as having artificial gravity.
Right.
And everything, so...
I do remember my granddad talking about, humans evolving in space.
Human anatomy!
And I don't know what he was reading, but the one thing I remember he was talking about this theory that they'd have to start getting involved with genetic engineering, because as you say, the legs would be kind of meaningless in space, so what they would do is they would engineer 2 extra arms instead of legs. So people will kind of spider about their space stations and what have you. It's like, what are you on, old man?
I love that idea. I'd love if you could replace, properly do it. Give me 2 arms instead of 2 legs. I'd love it. I mean, getting shoes would be a bit hard, but yeah. Well, another thing as well is, surely if aliens have sent spacecraft here, why would they be manned? We're reaching a point now where, in 100 years, surely you're not going to get onto a transatlantic flight and it be manned by 2 men in a cockpit, and it would be men. You can't have a woman pilot.
Aye, up them.
Oh God, I'm having flashbacks.
I apologise.
Why would they send people here?
I don't know. It's an unnecessary risk, but then again, these people are thinking very provincially. What they picture aliens as is something ultimately still very human, and it's we're kind of looking at it more and more and seeing, particularly as you're talking about things like drones or what have you. Yeah, that's an unnecessary risk. We're only just kind of broaching the logic of how we'd actually kind of go about an undertaking like that. And you wouldn't send a manned craft at all. It would you'd just be probing, really. Yeah.
It would just be probing, and I guess you've got to sort of wonder why they would do that. That's another problem, right?
Yeah. Why does anyone do anything? I would say it would be boredom and curiosity, really. See what's there and just kind of see what it does.
Yeah, I mean, would they be curious about it, about us?
Oh, I'm sure. Of all the the life forms you would say are lower than us on the planet, you've got people that are fascinated by very a specific species of ant or something like that. If you can find people that are going to work that niche with such a fine-tuned curiosity, easily they'll be. If such a species existed, they'd be interested in us. Maybe not, species wide, but you'll find the odd loner alien that's going to be like, put them in a jar and watch them for hours on end.
Yeah, we're in a jar. I like that idea. Like a massive cyber jar. Let's say that. A digital jar. Well, I'm thinking about, hunter-gatherers that still exist, and we try, human beings, I guess, or civilization tries not to interfere with them. Just let them live, they're happy, they're fine. Maybe it would be more like that, like, oh yeah. I don't see why they'd be here to steal our resources. Like, what have we got? Oh yeah, we ran out of fucking kicks ages ago. Surely they, I don't know, wouldn't be that interested. I don't know.
Well, they might be after the gold-plated headphone jacks and stuff like that. They're quite valuable.
Yeah. Yeah, we're actually here because of your ample amount of cloud storage. We need to back up all of our Disturbed albums. You don't understand, but Disturbed become the premier band of the galaxy in about 150 years. They've got thousands of them, thousands of albums.
Yeah, it's the only reason we spare your life, because they existed on this planet.
Yeah, yeah. So did your landlord ever talk to you about aliens?
No, I didn't broach him about the subject. I found that talking to him about anything, even if it was entirely trivial and mundane, a fucking effort. So God knows, after the stuff I'd heard him talking about coronavirus and Epstein and what have you, I daren't ask him about aliens. I'd be too upset, far too upset.
I'm sure I mentioned it before, for which I could only apologise, but you're an hour into this podcast. I assume you know what you're in for. Just the same shit. But I remember being on a very, very no budget film set, and the DOP was talking about next year, Planet X is going to crash into Earth, and the Illuminati are preparing their spaceships to leave. And it was like, well, if you believe that, why are you working doing this? Like, I'd either be trying to get on one of those spaceships or trying to stop it from happening, or, like having a good time saying goodbye.
Yeah, well, maybe he was just, he'd achieved everything he wanted in his life, and he was just perfectly content. He was absolutely ready to die.
That's right. Whenever I hear people talk this shit, whenever I hear people talk about aliens and the Illuminati, they're always people who come across like they're perfectly content.
I'm positing a theory here. I didn't say it was a good one.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess we're done with aliens. I don't have anything else to say about it, unless you want to go into like super old aliens who help people make, medieval castles and things.
No, I think we've done that already. I was already dumbfounded enough watching Ancient Aliens. I think I've said everything I possibly can.
Didn't we watch all of that together? You told me.
No, I thought we talked about it in the
we
first
did an episode on it, and I couldn't remember anything.
I watched it at the end of last year, and I think it's the first thing we talked about on the first episode, if that's right, if I'm correct.
Right.
And yeah, I was just absolutely astounded by how much they reckon they are responsible for, not just every modern technology, but our very evolution. They seeded life on this planet and then engineered it specifically along the way, and then built all of our technology, because we weren't going to evolve on our own whatsoever. We weren't going to learn anything. We had to be handheld the entire fucking way.
Yeah, it sort of almost goes back to God, doesn't it? Like it's
Jesus.
Jesus. No, it's not Jesus. It's not anti-Jesus. It's sort of not anti-religious. It's a-religious. Yeah, it's sort of atheism coming all the way around to there isn't a God because there are aliens, but aliens made us because they're God. Like, what if aliens came and they said, "Yeah, we did seed the planet with life and everything." Like, oh, are you God then? Like, well, no, we did that, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can't like answer my wishes or stop death or anything? No. We've been around a long time. We cannot do that. Sorry. It's not a very good segue, but I was reading something the other day about a couple who had got married and not only sent out all their wedding invitations, they had asked a man who was selling his mansion if they could have their wedding there, and the man said no. But they sent out all the invitations to have their wedding there anyway. And they just appeared with like 200 people at his mansion to have a wedding. And he had to phone the police to say, "There's 200 people on my lawn." Have you heard anything about that?
No, not at all. Where was this, did you say?
In America, surprisingly. Somewhere. I want to say Florida, but I can't say that for sure. I don't know, it just sort of struck me that, of course we think there's fucking aliens. We think that's going to work. Not only did they try to have their wedding at this person's mansion, they said to people, I assume friends and family who they'd invited, that it was their mansion. They're going to know it's not your fucking mansion. They know who you are. I don't know. Whatever then. Nothing on that, I guess. Did you hear about the girl?
Oh, did you hear about? I mean, I guess by the time this is up, it will have already have happened. I don't know what day it was supposed to be. I think it's any time now. But the Josh fight.
No,
Oh,
the Josh fight.
Yeah. So some guy.
Josh Brolin versus another famous Josh.
So some guy called Josh, I think, used a social media platform. I want to say Facebook. I can't remember. I'm not totally sure.
Oh, I've heard of that.
And he just contacted as many people named Josh as he could, but with a date and
to tell them that there can be only one.
Essentially, yes, he gave them a date and some coordinates and saying, "Be there. We're going to fight and find out who's the best Josh." And I've just been seeing it come up. People have been talking about it quite a lot. I've been seeing a lot of memes appear here, this, that, and the other, about Josh fight and this, that, and the other. I don't think it's any.
He's just joshing.
I don't. I'm curious to.
Ignored. Sorry, go on. You should ignore it. Go on.
No, we're going to land on that. That's all. We're going to focus on it for hours now. That's the rest of the show. No, I just wanted to know if you heard anything about that, because I think it's any time now. I'd like to. I mean, a lot of people are taking the piss out of it, but I think there are going to be a few diehard people who are actually going to turn up. And I don't know if they're going to take it in good fun or they're going to be there with the fucking katana or something. I think.
Are they going to have to present a state ID?
I have no idea. I mean,
like, can you
prove you're a
turn up
Josh
and not be called Josh?
I don't know.
Or can you just get your name changed by deed poll like that morning?
Oh, no, all I saw was a screenshot of the message that was sent. It was entirely informal. It's like it says like,
was it?
Sorry, I know that's redundant.
You mean it wasn't a man in a tuxedo with white gloves knocking on doors going, "Excuse me, is there a Mr. Josh who lives here? I have an invitation to a pugilist match." Don't worry, I'm not called Josh. My name is called Moo. My name's called Moo. I'm not called Moo. My name's called Moo.
That's a precaution, of course. Absolutely knew I'd be in the line of fire if I.
Where is it?
I think I want to say Nebraska or something like that. It doesn't say exactly; it just gives you the coordinates. But someone else had elaborated on that on top. Something I saw later on down the line.
Yeah, on the roof of the Woodsman's building. Right. Okay. I've not heard anything about that. Is right. Great.
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw it was kind of going viral a little bit. So I'm sure. There's the better part of people are going to be taking that in good humor, of course. But then you'll have the tryhards that are actually going to turn up. Then you have the nutcases that are just going to get violent and think there is something legitimate in it.
I mean, I
think it's very funny now.
I assume it's an ambush of some sort. It's just some sort of scheme to take people's wallets from their cold dead hands.
Well, I don't know. Already, it was yesterday apparently.
Did it happen?
Yeah. It was a viral internet meme, a mock airport in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it looks like it was people there with a lot of wiffle bats. Damn! I was kind of hoping that I get to say it was something that's very, very funny now, and then I get to read in a couple of days that someone had been slain and their head had been displayed as a trophy, on the hood of their car or something.
Yeah, by the time this goes up, we're already like halfway through a national month of mourning. 4,500 dead.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that's the case. We've got a lot of neckbeards with plastic swords here. So I think it's pretty harmless. That's a shame. I had hopes. High hopes it was going to be a bloodbath.
What's a wiffle bat? Is that like a soft baseball bat?
Yeah, basically.
Right.
I think if what I remember from.
But it's still a fight to the death. It's just like going to take several hours now.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the bat will definitely fall to pieces before the victim does, but it's a good start. Maybe when it snaps in two, you'll have an edge that you may be able to kind of stab with.
Yeah, the trick is to not use the wiffle bat as a weapon at all. You just got to eat it for energy.
Because it's irradiated plastic.
Half bat, half man. Yeah, that's very weird. I also read that with the story of the couple who'd gone to somebody's random mansion / their dream home, that he owned this mansion because his father got in early with the IHOP craze, and I had to look up what the fuck that was.
Yeah, what's
Do you
that?
know what
I know
yeah, do you know
IHOP
what
is
IHOP is?
yeah, International House of Pancakes. Is that
I didn't know that. Why not call it that instead of IHOP? I assumed IHOP was something like it's it's like those fake nipples that you put on not put on yourself, but doctors put on you to monitor your heart rate and stuff when you're in hospital.
not
It's like
fake
those you put them on your
nipples.
knees and they just make you dance.
Like proper stripper tassels, pasties. I think they're called.
It's just those things like hooked up to some crocodile clips and a battery.
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah, apparently as well. So I looked it up. What the hell is IHOP? And they changed their name from International House of Pancakes. I mean, surely it would just be IP, International House of Pancakes. It's like SWAT. Like, oh, we're gonna call it SWAT. Okay, why? Do you know what SWAT stands for? Like a SWAT team?
Special weapons and tactics, I think.
Yeah. So SWAT, not SWAT. Anyway, yeah, well, they decided that they would change their name from International House of Pancakes because they thought that having the word pancake in the title of their business was too unhealthy.
Right.
It sounded too unhealthy.
So what have
So,
they gone
what,
with?
like you're just going to walk in there and not know what it is? And then, oh, well, I mean, I didn't want any pancakes because, I'm watching my figure. But while I'm here, yeah, I'll have 100.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's like, but I don't want to say it's a restaurant. It sounds like it's a breakfast bar, right? So it's just going to be pancakes, waffles, and shit like that. Bacon and
Well,
eggs.
isn't a breakfast bar a restaurant?
Well,
Ooh, you're such a snob. Is a Little Chef a restaurant, Damien? I bet it isn't to you, is it? That's what a lot of people can afford.
You know what I fucking mean. It specializes in breakfast foods. It's what I mean, rather than simply, a restaurant serves dinner or lunch.
Yeah.
But
Because pancakes are breakfast foods.
I
What's better to start your day with than just carbs and carbs and carbs, and then wonder why you're hungry at 10 a.m.
I think they're regarded as that in the States, aren't they? I mean, I definitely get that vibe from their television.
What? That pancakes are breakfast.
Yeah, people have pancakes at breakfast.
Yeah, it is. I mean, who am I to say that you can't have pancakes for breakfast? George, that's who I am. It's fucking wrong. I mean, it's worse on the other end. Grapefruit for breakfast. Have you ever had grapefruit? Horrible.
Yes, it's a penance. It really is.
But I do like the idea of having a fruit or having any sort of food that is also its own container.
Yeah, the sandwiches form the foundation of my diet simply because I like to be able to eat what I eat food with. I can't do that with a knife and fork, so I generally dispense with them. One, because it's unpalatable.
I don't know
also
why.
means we're washing, and I'm a lazy
I have no
bastard.
idea when. Sorry, go on. I'm interrupting you. Washing? You do washing?
Well, I have a dishwasher, and it's hard to load after a while because it's
Really?
all the way
I thought she dumped you.
She didn't do the fucking dishes.
Racist, sexist. It's all the hits today. She didn't do the dishes. What dishes, Damien? You had like one paper plate.
And I wouldn't
constantly reused.
I wouldn't even
Get a
put it
bit
in
of
the
varnish
bin.
on that. It's basically a plate.
Yeah, just laminate. I spent a lot of money on that
Laminator,
laminator. Yeah. Rinse it off in the shower when I go into my morning.
mainly wasteful to laminate a plate. Just get some laminate and just eat it straight off that. Just get a computer scanner and just eat it off the glass.
Or what I'd actually buy, I go to like an outdoor wares, like hiking supply shop. Just get tarpaulin. I just cut a little piece off when I need it for dinner.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you just cut a piece off and that's your clothes. Just stick
That's
your head
my dinner.
right through that. Yeah, that's your dinner.
I'm an animal.
Yeah, it's like a reverse poncho. Like, when you see Ray Mears and he's like, I'm going to teach you how to collect water with just a bit of tarpaulin. You just string it up, you have it sort of dip in the middle, collect condensation. It's like that, but in the middle it's your head. And you're just like that for a day and just suck it. All the berries that fall in there, all the bird shit goes straight into your mouth. It's like the monster in Jedi, the Jedi film. Return of the Jedi, that's the one. You know the monster where they're throwing people in?
Yes, the giant sand anus.
Yes. because anuses eat stuff.
They can
Yeah, it's
do. Things can go in an anus.
Yeah, but they don't eat them.
Suppositories can dissolve and be absorbed through the...
What happened to your dick, Damien? It's just a nub. Anal sex.
I could never pull it out.
Oh no, another case of a highly acidic anus. Like eventually you can work it as a plus. Like you can start like outsourcing to the mob. Like if you chop him up and give me a couple of days, I'll get rid of that body.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's flawless in terms of detection, but just the time frame is absolutely is ridiculous.
It's just Mulder and Scully tapping like viscous liquid on the floor. Like we don't Mulder. It could have been an alien. It could have been a human. All we can say is that it's acidic anus juice now. It's just broken it down. The FBI cannot analyze this. All we're going to get in there is amino acids. Could have been anything. It could have just been fucking lead blocks.
Yeah, and a few broken proteins, and nothing that is of any discernible use.
Yeah, there's a whole new age of nuclear power when the nuclear authorities work out that that's what they need to do. Just put the spent fuel rods into your acidic anus. Job's done. God, what the fuck was I talking about?
You were talking about IHOP. How you got started on the sand anus, I don't know.
We weren't talking about that. We were talking about things that shouldn't be breakfast. I remember talking to an American once who was saying like, yeah, I got these herbs because they'll be really good for a breakfast sausage. And I said, what makes it a breakfast sausage? And they put their hands on their hips and they said, the herbs. Like someone's decided, like emphatically, like this is breakfast. This tastes like breakfast now.
Oh, I mean, I bet you felt fucking stupid for asking that question. Jesus, of course, yeah. Duh.
I did.
The herbs.
I mean, we come from I don't know why we're talking about laughing at people for eating pancakes for breakfast, because we come from a land where you can have one or two breakfasts. You can have sugary cardboard on sugary milk or under sugary milk, depending on how lumpy it is, or you can have 2,000 calories of fried goodness. What do you eat for breakfast, Damien? Rivitas?
Weetabix.
Oh, you still eat Weetabix?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, more often than not, I skip breakfast.
I thought you'd gone off them after your dispute with the Quaker people.
When they dispensed with Oatabix, yeah, I kind of lost my interest. No, I mean...
Now, what is Oatabix? Because I thought Weetabix was oats anyway. Is it not?
No, Weetabix...
You're absolutely right. It isn't. It's... No, I'm thinking of shredded wheat. Shredded wheat is wheat.
Yeah.
What is Weetabix?
Weetabix is wheat.
It's not wheat, it's oaty stuff.
It's just
wheat is like long and strandy.
Yeah, but it's just processed differently, mashed up and then just pressed into a biscuit-like shape.
Right. Okay, I see. Would you ever do the thing of, I don't have time to have a bowl of Weetabix, so I'll just eat a dry Weetabix.
Oh,
and then,
yes.
And then take a shot of milk.
Oh, no, I didn't have the smarts to do that.
I didn't have the milk.
Because I would have been just a kid, but I have eaten dry Weetabix and then be convinced that my throat was bleeding, because it is not an easy endeavour whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's your fault. I've seen you eat, and it doesn't touch the sides. And I imagine whether it's with milk or not, you just fucking swallowed that shit. Because I've eaten dry Weetabix. It didn't cut my mouth up.
Fair enough. I'll give you that one. I did have I had a Dalmatian when I was growing up, and my dad used to give the fucking Weetabix when we were out of dog food. Weetabix with water, right? And
oh no!
Yeah. He used to walk it with a friend of his who also had another Dalmatian. They used to come back to the house and they'd feed the dogs together. But my Dalmatian was very competitive when it came to the food. She used to thieve.
Yeah, your Dalmatian was a proper knobhead.
Yes, yeah, she was, bless her. But the other Dalmatian that he walked with, he was a lot bigger. He was a bit older and he's a bit more passive. and just kind of used to her shit. So she basically scarfed down both bowls of Weetabix. She knew in order to steal his, that she'd have to kind of basically inhale hers in a single go. I know that they get like 2, 3, something like that. And then she moved on to his. And she'd eaten it so quickly. She'd obviously gotten really... She started staggering almost immediately. You know.
I mean, when you say she'd eaten 2 or 3 Weetabix, you're talking about the army Weetabix, where it's like it's for a platoon of men.
Oh yeah, it's basically sawdust.
Yeah, I mean you have to. Yeah, you have. It's a bale of hay essentially. You have to carry it on your shoulder. One of these Weetabix.
Oh, it's just been compressed right down there, so it's really heavy, really heavy.
She started staggering.
Yeah, and maybe made it like halfway down the hallway before she starts eruptively hurling this thing out. And she'd eaten it so quickly that obviously it hadn't hit the bile at all, but it'd been enough just to reshape the Weetabix.
Oh, so it was like a Weetabix snake.
Yeah, it was. It just looked like kind of, from a distance, they just like Frankfurters, and then you go look a bit closer, and you could obviously see the individual grains. And because it hadn't hit the stomach bile yet, it's still fucking dry. But perfectly pressed, didn't fall apart. It was nicely, it held its shape. It was formed perfectly.
Wow. And a little bit of carrot in there as well, I imagine. Bit of sweet corn.
Oh, yes. Well, whatever she thieved from the night before. Which, no,
yes,
it wouldn't have been carrot. It would have been parts of like a Talk Boy watch or something like that.
A Talk Boy watch? What's that?
All right, well, a Talk Boy was basically the handheld recorder thing that Macaulay Culkin had in Home Alone, and I was a huge fan of those movies as a kid. So I got all those toys. I got one of those Talk Boys, but then they came out with a whole line of them, and one of them was like there was a mini one, and then there was one that was a watch that you could talk into, and
it would play it back.
Yeah, basically that's all it did.
I had one of those, but it was a Darth Vader helmet. I mean, it wasn't like a helmet you wear, like it was a small one, but it had 3 options. Recording, which it recorded about 10 seconds. Then the first recording, it was Darth Vader going, "I have you now." Just that. Just, "I have you now." So you can record yourself. You can hear James Earl Jones say, "I have you now," and then the second button, Damien, was Darth Vader going, and that was it. Just breathing.
I'd have a lot of fun with that these days.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so it was So you could record yourself. It was a
yeah
baby's first dictaphone.
Essentially, yeah. But that dog just loved eating all.
Record yourself memorandums. What? And it would eat that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what I used to do with it. I presume I would just kind of wail into it, much like an 8-year-old does, nonsensically, and then that would be it. Don't know how long it lasted, but I definitely wasn't that bust up when I noticed that I could only find the strap one day, and the rest of it all fucking gone. And obviously we weren't scratching our heads as to what had happened. That dog had set a precedent for eating loads of fucking toys, and well, not just toys, but anything that you would traditionally think is inedible, but she used to consume them with a fervor.
Yes, I remember your sister had a birthday party once. That's the end of that.
Oh, okay.
where we were invited. I don't know if we were invited, but we were there, you and I, and your dad put on a massive spread for her and all of her many, many friends.
Yes.
And, a really nice spread. But one of the things he put in, what would you call it, a big food tray, were like these really, really long, not very hot, but very, very long, like covered in oil, red chilies. And I think there were only like 2 really big ones.
Right.
And they went completely untouched because there was no way to eat them.
Yes.
Everything else was like finger food, and then it was like, well, what do you want me to do with that? And then at the end of the night, I think Dobbo took the cling film off them to eat a bit of garlic in there or something. And then I talked to him, and in a second, your dog had eaten both of these things. And then we just looked at the dog, and I remember him just carefully putting the cling film back over the now empty tray of food. And then that was it. We just watched the dog for the rest of the night. Is this thing going to die or what? No. She was fine.
Yes, unfortunately, she always was fine.
Unfortunately, she was fine.
It was frustrating. She must have done hundreds of pounds worth of damage in terms of like those kind of toys that she would eat. She even got through like a whole pack of like ibuprofen, and that was when we really got quite worried because they were the little caps that were sugar coated, and she'd obviously fucking sniffed them out. It's like, oh, that's sweet. And had,
So she ate them in the actual plastic.
yeah, in the plastic, yeah,
like the blister pack.
yeah. And I don't know how many were there. The way my dad and my mum told
Like
the story,
100.
yeah, that's what they always make it sound like. I guess it couldn't have been more than like 5 or 6 or something like that. But they always say it's a whole pack. So I guess she'd obviously grabbed, the box, whatever was left in there.
And the plastic coated cardboard box. She'd eaten that as well.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, not
Right.
she left enough to kind of let us know what she'd done. But yeah, it was definitely inside her stomach.
Did you take her to a vet?
No. So
No.
that's my dad has a sort of wait and see approach with stuff like that.
Oh, good.
Because otherwise, it would to act in any other fashion would require effort and potentially, financial investment. So no, we'll just wait and see.
What other food would not be appropriate for breakfast, Damien? Because I do have one, which I mean I don't know if it's appropriate for breakfast or brilliant. When I went to India, curry.
Oh yeah, no, I'm the worst person to ask because there's nothing I love more than takeout food in the mornings. Yeah, cold curry, cold pizza. Easily. I'm not one to have breakfast, but if I've got leftover takeout, then that's what I'll be eating as soon as I wake up. Usually because I'll be hungover, and that's what will save my life for the rest of the day. But yeah, is that do a lot of people frown on that? For me, it's kind of so normalized that it's.
I don't know if they frown on it. I just think that most people wouldn't do that. But yeah, I mean, like you say, the breakfast I've seen you had, it's like a whole can of Red Bull and then some hula hoops.
Yeah, but I decant it into a bowl, turn it into a mush. Essentially like a vitamin paste.
Hey, you pretend it's the good times when we've got some cream and wedding cake.
They were blinding meals. I don't know what you're talking
Yes,
about.
diabetically blinding.
Yeah, we did dodge a bullet. We should be grateful for that. I don't suppose I would do that now. I think that was,
No.
youth was on our side then. Now I'll definitely have problems.
Yeah, well, you're not into sugary stuff, are you?
Not typically, no. But
No.
when I'm that high, it becomes incredibly good fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought a pound cake the other day for $1.
What on earth is a pound cake? I'm familiar with the term, but
I know you are, yes.
But-
Blanca wants pound cake?
ooh.
It's a sugary cake. I don't know what makes it pound cake. Yeah.
Okay, the name makes it sound like it's going to be really heavy and dense. Am I correct in thinking that? Or is it just a cake that's super sugary?
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, with all of these things, the only time I've ever eaten them is when they're like highly processed shit. I'm sure if you had like a pound cake someone had made, who knew what they were doing, I'm sure it would be really delicious and, like you said, dense. But no, because it's just 100%, not just sugar, but like
Reclaimed food.
like reclaimed, refined, subsidized sugar, sweeping sugar. It's just fluff. And like one of these things is about 900 calories. That's why I bought it. And I ate like a fair amount of it. And for the first time in my life, I thought, that's enough of that. I'm still hungry, but not for this.
Right. Okay. Wow, that must have been terrible.
Yeah, well, it wasn't terrible. I've just reached the point where too much sugar is. Ugh. Ugh. It's the same with alcohol. I can't have a lot of alcohol now because of the sugar content. It's not like I'm on a diet. It just makes me feel bad.
Well, do what my father does and stick to clear liquor.
Gin.
Yeah. And for good measure, keep it by the bedside, in measures of several litres. That way, you know, if you need to pass out, you're near the bed. Simples.
Yeah. I think if you're in bed and you pass out, that's not actually technically passing out.
It's not
just going to
shameful.
sleep.
No. That's totally normal. Yeah.
That's
That's a
totally normal.
Tuesday.
Even if your bed is in, the even if it is in the storm drain by the side of your house because you've run out of spaces for mattresses in the hallways.
Yeah, I forgot. I was going to send you a photo of that. I'll do that after I get off the phone tonight, so you can see just how naff that fucking is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I imagine it's if you got one on each wall, one on the ceiling, one on the floor, you could pretend it's a sort of like International Space Station bounce house
I suppose so. Yeah.
where you're like crawling through it and.
Well, I
such.
mean, I don't know if I got to this point in that kind of story, but they're definitely not going to be thrown out because when.
Well, no, I gathered that.
Well, but no, but the reason being, you know, there's a practical reason now, George. You must understand.
It's mental illness.
There are 3 dogs here, and 2 of them aren't fixed, and one's a dog and one's a bitch, and the bitch is very young. And she was in season for the second time a few weeks ago, and granted the other one's a lot older. He's 13, but with his NAD still in place, drove him absolutely fucking wild, and my dad obviously didn't really consider this would be an issue when he took.
I'm following all of this. How do mattresses factor into this?
Because he has to separate the dogs, right? And
Right.
no.
Oh, and you've not told me, but you've actually demolished all of the doors and walls in your house, so it's entirely open plan.
No.
Yeah.
Well, this is a very clumsy solution. I actually went out to do like a bit of a shopping run for myself, and he had to separate the dogs on his own. A lot of that was what I was helping him with. I'd just be taking the dogs out of the house and what have you. I came back and I found that I'd mentioned that it might be worth investing in one of those baby gates for the stairs and what have you. And he's like, no, my dogs will just vault over that because they're all Olympians. Well, just think about it. Get one of those fucking gates. It will make things easier. But I come back from the shops, having mentioned that to him. He's just gone and propped those mattresses up at the fucking top of the fucking stairs to separate them. And it's like, all right, fine for like right now, but get a fucking proper gate. It's like, no, this works so much better. So no, those things are in to stay. When Nala's back in season again, I think it'll be another 5 months or whatever it is. That's what they're going to be used for. They have a purpose now. It's not just something that has failed to be disposed of in a mature and timely way. No, it's a practical. It's an appliance now. It's a utility. They're utility mattresses.
All mattresses are utility mattresses, just not for that utility.
They're dual function mattresses then.
I mean, God, how many have you got? Like 3 or 4? You're halfway
3.
there to a recording studio.
Oh, I know. Yeah, well, 2 singles and a double.
Right. What are the singles for?
I've no idea. Well, we had 2 single beds, you know.
Okay.
They've been dismantled and the bed frames have been disposed of, or they have just been broken into smaller pieces, then just been hidden in various cupboards across the property, which is probably much more likely. I mean, I can't find them now, but I know
You just go in there and where are those not the mattresses? Where are those bed frames? Like, oh, you've glued them to the ceiling because you ran out of floor space.
That's bollocks. It's total bollocks. No, there was one piece. There were 2 end pieces. This metal one that we had, and then there was obviously like the floor, the bed of the frame where you lay the mattress across. He liked that bit, so he's propped that up against the wall and says, like, well, that's essentially like a towel rack for the guest room, right? That does a thing now. Okay, fine. It's not as unsightly as the rest of the trash in this house, but it's still trash.
Wow. I mean, at least it's not garbage. At least it's not yogurt pots or stuff.
No, nothing like that. But I don't know. There's He likes buying the Guardian now, and they're
Right.
starting to pile up a little bit.
Oh, why wouldn't you save them?
Of course, yeah. Well, he buys them, to kind of.
That's how I want to die, under a collapsing tower of Guardians.
Yeah, they're bought to be strategically placed on a piece of furniture for a photo that will later be shared on social media channels.
Yeah, he used to do that with National Geographic,
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah, he still has those. Yeah, I don't think he's ever read any of them. He had subscriptions for
No.
years, and he's got fucking hundreds of the bastards. It's in a great big pile. But yeah.
Yeah, like I'm. Yeah, look, everyone. I've got my grapefruit there. Breakfast. I've got my chess set, which is, in not just. I've not just had a game with myself. I've actually taken the time to look up, like a sort of atypical Sicilian Open to recreate.
Oh,
Even
no.
though I'm not playing anyone, I've done that, and there are some National Geographics. Here's a photo. Make sure you don't get Everybody Loves Raymond open on Netflix in the background.
Yeah. That's him down to a T, I'm afraid. But when it comes to the openings, of course, it wasn't some obscure Sicilian thing. No, he was really into the Queen's Gambit on Netflix. So he had it set up as the Queen's Gambit. And he made a big point of sharing that. And it's like, oh, great, cool. Posing. Just delightful. Absolutely fucking delightful. I don't think he can play fucking chess. But he has, there's at least 4 or 5 chessboards in this, between those 2 living rooms alone.
Really? Okay. Right.
Yeah.
I see. And when you say, him setting up these weird social media posts, I mean, we've obviously not mentioned that it is a Simpsons chessboard where, the king and queen are Homer and Marge. All the pawns are Bart.
Yes, I played with one of those.
I always
as
wanted
a kid.
that as a kid. Yeah.
I didn't have it, but I used to visit after my parents split up. I used to visit my mum with her with her boyfriend at the time, and he was really into chess. But he had the Simpsons chessboard, and I fucking loved it. He kept trying to teach me, and I was like, "No, I'm sorry. I just want to play with him." Yeah.
Yeah. So Danny DeVito. Originally, as if we were going to talk about Danny DeVito and all the stuff he could be in. Wouldn't it be funny? Got anything, Damien? Danny DeVito has all of the orcs in Lord of the Rings.
I didn't think about it like that. What I immediately think of when I think of Danny DeVito these days is Frank Reynolds, and I started to think of what I'd like to supplement Frank Reynolds for previous Danny DeVito roles, and I just kept thinking of. I wrongly thought of Junior because I was thinking of twins at first, but I just want to see Frank Reynolds in Junior chasing Arnold Schwarzenegger around with a wire coat hanger, trying to flush out that baby. And Arnie's fucking shit scared,
It's reverse Terminator, where Arnold's running, and then this time Danny DeVito is Nemesis, but instead of saying stars or sausage, he's just going flush, 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 flush.
Do yourself a favor, flush it.
Yeah, obviously there was, Danny DeVito is much loved. There was a famous petition for him to play Wolverine. There was also a famous petition for him to do the voice for the English version of Detective Pikachu.
Oh right, yeah. I think I heard about that one. I didn't know if that was legit or not. There was no. I was kind of hoping it would be, but I don't think it was going to be enough for me to see that movie.
I've seen it.
Oh yeah. Loved it. Wasn't dreadful at all. My favourite thing. It's up there with Woody Woodpecker.
It wasn't dreadful. I mean, it's a kids' film.
Yeah.
I mean, it was better than Sonic.
Oh,
Sonic was bad. Yeah. It was all right. Whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Danny DeVito. I mean, I was thinking about everybody loves Danny DeVito. Wouldn't we like to see him in more things? Wouldn't we see him wouldn't we love to see him because he's so charismatic and no matter what he does, wouldn't we like to see him horribly miscast? And then I thought, well, actually, if we really love Danny DeVito, film is the wrong way to go. And I think that my fantasy Danny DeVito project would be a sort of Red Dead Redemption, Cyberpunk, GTA sort of RPG open world game where you play Danny DeVito as Matilda's dad in the 90s selling cars, and it's like a beautifully rendered city where you can't do any violence or anything. You can't like hijack people's cars or anything. It's got a very, very deep, I suppose, sort of. I was thinking of calling it something like Grand Pimp Auto.
Okay.
Sort of like a, pimp my ride, but you've got to pimp rides for as little money as possible and sell them for as high a return as possible using glue, and instead of welding things and things like that. But just really, the sort of main part of the game is play the Danny DeVito you want. Are you going to press L2 and greet people, or are you going to press L2 and antagonize people? What sort of Danny DeVito are you going to be? Are you going to grow his hair out? Are you going to wear a bunny suit?
Are you going to wear dungarees, nothing but dungarees, and beat people to death with a 15-inch black rubber cock? It's up to you.
No, there's no violence or anything. There's very little gameplay.
You just brandish a dildo. You don't actually strike anyone with it.
Yeah, you can buy a dildo and stuff like that, but you are a car salesman. There's nothing else. You can walk around the city. You can go and watch shows and things, but really, the value is in what am I going to dress Danny DeVito in.
Well, I've put my cards. I've nailed my colours to the mask. I say nothing but dungarees. He might be wearing one boot, but I want to keep it nice and sloppy.
You want to keep it nice and sloppy?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
Nice. I want him really rough. Really kind of hillbilly, I think.
Yeah, as opposed to all those times when Danny DeVito looks really well put together and dapper.
I would say so. Yeah, absolutely. Probably Matilda. Yeah.
He looked like the sort of person you'd trust in a Matilda.
So this game's supposed to be like a simulation of Danny DeVito's world in Matilda, a day in the life as him in that movie. Is that correct?
Or is it like a meta game where you are playing Danny DeVito, the actor, playing Danny DeVito in Matilda, and it's all about like, are you going to get to set on time? And things like that. No, Danny DeVito is a car salesman, and yeah, it's just about ripping people off and being Danny DeVito, being really gruff. It's really fun, I promise. Get the fucking chair. Get the Danny DeVito shaped chair for $700. Are you going to dye his roots, or are you going to let the grey grow out?
Oh, I mean, we have to continue the dye job, of course.
It's about fucking taking screenshots and putting them up on Reddit. Is what the game's about. Really.
Oh, you think it's going to be like a lot of it's has a similar business model to Fortnite, and it's all about the micro purchases. That's what all the costuming's all about. It's not like you're given a free range to kind of, this huge palette to kind of build your perfect Danny DeVito with. You actually got quite a limited one, but you have to keep shelling out a $5 every kind of couple of weeks when they just like, now you can dress him up as Black Panther. Now, look, Wonder Woman 1984. Do you want to see Danny DeVito as Wonder Woman? £8. I mean, I want to see that now that I fucking said it.
But you don't need to buy any of that, right, to play Fortnite?
No, the game itself is free, but what it trades on is all the DLC shit, and people lap it up.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's weird to me. Is that weird to you, or am I just an old fart?
No, a little bit of both. It's something that I've never. Well, it's a bit.
You can spend your money on whatever you want. It's just clearly a waste of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that I've ever immersed myself in. Really, it's definitely a sort of culture unto itself, from what I can understand. Because it's not just, at least with Fortnite in particular, I don't think it's necessarily about playing the game, but they seem to like host events and stuff like that, where people actually hang out as kind of like people, as you would in kind of real life. and it seems to get quite cliquey. So if you just turn up in like your default skins and shit like that, or anything that's not kind of you haven't paid for, then people aren't interested in kind of hanging out with you. So people actually start shilling out for it, so they can kind of be, well, more social, kind of be a name within that little bubble, really. From what I've heard.
So it's sort of like Second Life, but with a game as well that
Yes.
you can play optionally. Because I know with Second Life, I don't know if it's going on still, but I know back in the day people were spending tens of thousands of dollars on, like buying property in Second Life and things.
Jesus. Let me just quickly get that. I want to just refresh myself what it looked like.
It looked like The Sims, like The Sims 1.
Ah, right, gotcha. Oh, it looks so fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, people are. Wow. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I suppose that's sort of a natural progression.
I suppose so, but
I
you
mean,
can do that in reality.
That makes me sad. What?
But you can do that, you can do that in reality, though. It's kind of what's curious. I mean, Fortnite's definitely missing a trick here, because we've obviously completely glossed over. There's no Danny DeVito skin, and if there's anything that's going to get me involved at this point, it'd be that. If nothing else, it's a practical skin, because you, in terms of hitbox detection, you have the size, so you become elusive when you play the game.
Yes, because as we know, Danny DeVito is literally 3 feet tall. But can he run?
Wouldn't need to. Not only is he difficult to shoot, but we've discussed that we haven't discussed. I think, but he's very stocky. He looks like he's quite
Yeah, he'd take you.
Yeah, he looks like he's quite like muscularly like dense. I think he'd be kind of good meat shield. I think he can take. It's not only difficult to shoot at, but I think a huge HP gauge as well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he's a tank. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it would work, and you would never want to do it. Something's gone wrong, but there's a massive cargo freighter stuck in the canal. All of the tugboats are gone. We need a man. It's going to be him. I mean, again, probably wouldn't work, but if it's going to work with a man, it's going to be Danny DeVito. I imagine he's got a very low center of gravity.
Oh yeah, you can't push him over.
No. No, like I imagine he'd be a really good sumo wrestler. Like maybe there's not a lot of push there, but just by sheer will and being rooted to the spot, he's going to wear them out.
Oh yeah,
those fat lads.
I think he can really earth himself.
Yes, impervious to electricity. Yeah, no, I think you've got it right. I think it should be Fortnite, but everyone's Danny DeVito, and there's no customizable options at all. You've just got to pay to get higher resolution Danny DeVito. if you don't pay, it's just like a PS1 Danny DeVito. It's just like a block.
Retro.
And
yeah.
Yeah. And then you can pay all the way up to having him 4K.
Oh, I don't know. I think some people have like fondness for kind of the retro aesthetics and pixel art stuff. I think you could probably that would come as a premium as well. I think you're kind of baseline kind of like PS3 kind of era graphics where it's in neither direction. It's not too high def. It's not too low def either. It just looks like a crap Danny DeVito.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I mean, I imagine as well, like, animations. Again, it's Danny DeVito. He's always wearing the same clothes. It's a pretty nice looking, you can tell it's a fairly expensive black T-shirt. It's fairly tight, but not too tight, tucked in to black pants. The only bit of color is he's got a silver belt buckle. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
He's wearing black shoes with black laces as well. They're the sort of shoes that look like he might work in a restaurant. Not shiny.
Yeah, no,
practical, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that and also NBA 2022. Every player's Danny DeVito.
So there's no dunking in that game at all, unless you have.
No, there is. They've still animated it like it's a professional basketball player. Like, it's something to beholden when we were watching Danny DeVito do these amazing fucking jumps.
Well, it's either you go about it two ways. It's either you have to like corral your team into one area of the court, and they have to like go on each other's shoulders. You need like 5 players in one spot to kind of do a special move. Either that, or they've all got little jetpacks, and it's jetpack basketball with Danny DeVito.
Tap X quickly, tap X quickly. Come on, you need to keep it up. Tap X quickly. Yeah. There's probably more skill in that.
Well, yeah, sheer stamina alone for your thumb.
Yeah. Press R2 to be really good.
No, not like that.
You did it wrong. Yeah, what else? I think, obviously we had the Del Boy Chavin trial recently, which was televised. And again, as a British person, that's weird to me because we don't televise court shit in Britain, do we?
No.
It's all highly secret. Everyone's wearing capes and stuff. Like, maybe you could have a court thing where, to protect the innocent and what have you, you don't show anyone's faces. It's just renderings of Danny DeVito over people's faces. And by renderings, I mean it's a 2D image.
So I saw Mr. Montone over there.
Yeah. I heard that he was stabbed in the abdomen. No, sir. He was stabbed in the fracas. Yeah. Danny DeVito. Anything else about Danny DeVito? Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito. Did you know that he owned the production company, or one of the production companies that produced Pulp Fiction?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Thank you very
He
much.
also directed Duplex, everyone's favourite Ben Stiller film from 2003.
I have no idea what that is. Is it worth looking
It's
up?
terrible.
Oh, yeah?
It's terrible.
Oh, if you say it like that, okay.
Yeah. And you don't see him anymore, do you? Ben Stiller.
Good. He was terrible.
Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't like Ben Stiller. No.
Well, I don't like him, but he was terrible.
Yes. Yeah. I never got the appeal. As a
Yeah.
comedic actor. I like Mystery Men, but that's not because,
of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything else, it was like any of those kind of comedy actors that are just absolute fucking hams. Will Ferrell's another one that's obviously really, really popular, but obviously has a shtick where everything's really kind of over-exaggerated, and it's like, okay, fine. I hate that. I really do. And obviously still is in that camp.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even have the same shtick as Ferrell, right?
No, but I mean, I'm thinking of things like Dodgeball, off the top of my
Yes.
head.
Well, I was also thinking about Dodgeball in NBA 2022, where Danny DeVito's just slamming basketballs into people's heads. You can select pirate mode, where it's not basketballs at all, it's cannonballs.
Excellent. And for an additional...
Oh, you've unlocked Grape Shot.
For an additional $5.99, you can get the Rip Torn skin.
Yeah. Danny DeVito versus Rip Torn celebrity grudge match. Yeah. They need to re-render him without anyone's permission for the new Men in Black film. Men and Women in Black.
Ooh.
What?
Oh, nothing. Sorry, I dropped the ball.
Did you suddenly remember where you were?
Yes, and I was stricken with panic and shame.
Fuck.
Oh, this is the waking life. Oh, dear God.
Oh, dear. So, are you looking forward to going back to London, Damien?
I'm looking forward to a change of scenery, I would say. I'll see how I feel tomorrow once the deed is done. I'm sure I'll tire of it pretty quickly.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Is the restaurant opening?
Yeah, it is. I'm not totally sure what they're doing about that. They wanted me back for the 1st of May, and I thought the in terms of the legal stuff, we weren't supposed to open until the 17th. So whatever they've got fucking planned, they want to start prepping from the beginning of the month. So if you do that, surely we'll be throwing food away before they open. We're talking about doing
Maybe
something.
they plan on giving it a good clean.
I fucking doubt that. They wouldn't know how to do that. Even if they did intend on doing that kind of shit, they don't have the eye or the fucking brains for it.
Yes, I think now that I've known people in various various parts of the restaurant industries in the UK and the USA, I think I'll never go to a restaurant again.
I think that's safe to say, yeah. I'd say probably the cleanest places I've ever seen are invariably like the tackiest fucking takeout places. They're so kind of homogenized and idiot-proof that you could possibly get fucking sick from them. But, any kind of traditional restaurant is so fallible. I mean, in terms of the turnaround with the staff is like this. Yeah, you can never have a trained workforce, a complete trained workforce all at once at any given time.
Unless you get like really up there, I suppose.
Yes, yeah. There has to be like a really good career place, but it has to be a nice-ish place to work because people only
Otherwise, people will.
They don't tolerate that shit for too long. There's always many weak links in any of those, in any workforce that I've been a part of, and you can never guarantee you'll do a safe and reliable day's work, back to back. It's fucking atrocious. No, I've been on the same opinion that since I've, you look behind the curtain, I'm not comfortable going to a shit ton of places.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's not really anything to do with COVID either. It's just sort of something I've come to the conclusion of, really. Have you ever seen anybody drop anything and put it back in the pan?
I saw someone drop an omelette on their shoe and then put it on back in the pan.
How can you do that? That's not even like I don't give a fuck. Like, how did the omelette survive?
I've no fucking idea. I think they were still kind of cooking it, so it was still kind of scrambled eggs. So he just hurried it back into the pan, and because it still had a ways to go, he could kind of set it back into shape.
How did it all? I mean, it can't have all been on his shoe. It must have been a very small omelette or a very big shoe.
No, but yeah, it's.
Or did he, as it was falling, did he like pick his foot up and sort of catch it?
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, but he kind of
Right.
looked. He did this thing where he looked around to see if anyone saw it. I saw it. He saw that I saw it, and then I saw that
Did
he
he
didn't
then
give a
like-
shit that I saw it and just put it straight back. So he did. Yeah, there was obviously some loss to the floor. He just supplemented it with a little bit more egg, but yeah, that was the same. It was the same fucking omelette.
And you did nothing, right? You just watched that get served to the vicar.
Absolutely. Well, I didn't have the time. I was in the middle of my own shit, and everyone was fucking screaming. No one gave a shit.
Yeah.
I saw
Sort of
someone.
seems like
Someone did. They were cooking. They had a private function, one of the in their PDR private dining room, and they had ordered basically 20 fillet steaks for the group, and they'll also be served at a certain time after someone had finished their speech and what have you. Whatever they're doing.
Fillet steaks.
Fillet. I do apologise. Yes,
Fillet.
I should know. I work at the business
You
agent
should.
now. And they told how each one was supposed to be cooked, yada yada, and they were kind of par cooked, and then whoever this guy was had everything on a tray, put it under a sort of salamander grill, just like a.
What's that?
It's a grill where it's a flame top grill, so you put it underneath the flame grill, and it just kind of cooks from the top down. We use it invariably to like toast stuff in a kitchen, but he just basically left it there and forgot. And overcooked the fucking job lot, and he reckoned that he checked one and it's like, oh, it's just on the line. So what he did was he needed to stop them cooking immediately. So what he did was he needed to put it into cold water.
He ran them under the tap, didn't he? Yeah, Jesus Christ.
No, he didn't just run them under the tap. He needed to get them all into cold water immediately. So he ran to the pot wash station and fucking launched them into the soapy water because it was cold. It's the only way he could get them all stopping at the same time. And then had to fish them out and clean them off and try it again. We obviously
this steak is.
Well, it's the only time I've seen something so fucking hateful that I saw someone fired on the fucking spot.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean,
they didn't serve it.
No offense, but good.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
absolutely.
who am I going to offend with that? Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was good. That made sense. I would have been fucking devastated. I mean, at that point, it wasn't the same day, of course, but I had already seen someone scrape scrambled egg off their fucking shoe back into a pan and carry on like it's fine.
Yeah, and you do not work in a cheap ass restaurant, right?
No, this.
I mean, I know it's not like super expensive Gordon Ramsay food or anything, but it's
No, but this
you know,
was 5 years ago. I haven't worked there in many years, but this was in Mayfair. I think that's about as much as I can say for the time being. Yeah, you would think they would know better, but absolutely fucking not.
I told you about I knew someone who was a server who brought somebody a Waldorf salad. Did I tell you about that?
You might have done. Go on, refresh my memory.
Brought somebody a Waldorf salad. Yep. Enjoy your meal. Enjoy your salad. Right. 2 minutes later, excuse me. There's peanuts in this, and I'm allergic to peanuts. Right. Takes it back. Why are there peanuts in this? Well, we ran out of walnuts. Well, they're allergic to peanuts. Well, why didn't you tell us? Well, because it's a Waldorf salad.
Yeah.
Because it's not meant to have peanuts in it.
Uh,
That's, I mean, again, that's a where I am. That's an upscale restaurant, a
yeah.
revolving restaurant.
And you don't mind naming and shaming them because they're bastards, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. No, I don't. No, I don't. I mean, what are they going to do?
That's-
It happened. It's not. It's not. It's only libel if it's untrue, and it's true.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, I imagine a lot of that goes on. So were these? What happened with these steaks then? Did you just have to redo them?
Yeah. We basically ruined these people's evening. Not that I gave a shit. It would have been some like company meal, something like that. But they had to wait like another half an hour, 40 minutes when they were expecting, after the meal was set. It was a planned dinner. So I don't know how much. They must have put a deposit down of like a couple of grand, but we ended up eating that for the sake of sake of those steaks.
Did it taste soapy? Oh, did it? I mean, did you have any?
No, I didn't. I know a few people that had a punt, but no, they were quite happy with the job they did of it in the sink. They personally took them away and washed them under regular tap water. They were happy with it, apparently.
Didn't you tell me a story once where someone had a customer had a steak, and then they finished with it, they left half of it, and you ate it immediately, and then they said, "Can I have it to go?"
No.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, okay. Someone you knew did that.
I don't remember doing that. If that was me, get out.
And you had to like quickly make a new steak for them to take home and give to the dog.
Yeah, I did, and they said that they were.
Oh, okay. Did you just decide you have, or did you just remember?
Well, I figured all that kind of stammering would be kind of cut out. I'll cop to it and try.
No, I was just wondering. I mean, I'm not trying to pressure you into saying this if you didn't do it. It's okay.
It sounds like something I would have done. It's not
what
me,
everyone does,
but
I've talked to loads of people who worked in loads of restaurants. They all eat the fucking food that gets sent back.
I mean, I haven't eaten anything off anyone's plate, but I was.
Damien, don't lie. Everyone does. It doesn't mean it's like gross. Like, I mean, I'm not talking about like eating like the food that's got like bite marks in it.
Oh no, I've seen a lot of that. No, I mean because I've
or people send back a steak because it's like, oh, it's too it's overdone.
Oh yeah, I mean I've
They've
done
not
that
touched
a
it.
million times.
People,
yeah,
of course they do. Come on, of course they do. Yeah.
But that's. I've done that with my head chef and what have you. They always call that due diligence, like seeing like is it actually overcooked and like having it's bollocks. He's hungry.
You're hungry, yeah.
But I've seen a lot of like waitresses and waiters and stuff come back with, and they're barely out of the fucking dining hall before they have their hands on it, and it's the stuff that's like half eaten. It's and it's like. Come on, guys, that's fucking revolting. But I don't know. For me, I work with the food, so when I'm hungry, I just steal, straight out of the fucking drawer. I'll just put an extra burger on. That'll be what I do. But if not me, then definitely I will have seen someone that took food back, fucking chowed down, and it's like, yeah, can we have that to go now? And then, yeah, really stitching the fuck up. It's like, well, yeah, I'll just give you one on the fucking house, I guess, because you paid for it and we fucking ate it.
Yeah. You just tell him you dropped it.
I think that's what we went with, but out of courtesy, we gave them something to take home.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And would you happen to know? Maybe you don't, but would you happen to know the drinks that are made? Is it the alcohol that it's meant to be, or is it the cheapest shit?
Depends. Yeah.
Could I have a cranberry vodka, please, with Grey Goose? Like you're an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely.
They're not going to give you Grey Goose. They're going to give you shit.
Yes, yeah. They have obviously have a lot of stuff with displays and what have you, but unless you specify what you want, any cocktails that they've got on the menu, they'll be giving you the cheapest shite possible. The current place I'm working at, one of the mainstays of their fucking business model is cocktails for $5. And in London, if you're paying anything less than say the average is probably 10 quid, but in most restaurants you're probably looking at upwards of 15 quid these days. So for a $5, you expect absolute fucking dross. But that's fine, that's kind of what people are down for at that place, student union fucking drinks and cheap fucking pork chops. It's not a fucking surprise that they've got a fucking vomit, slot bucket in all of the fucking toilets every fucking day. They're just shuffling out fucking vomit.
And the public toilets, no less.
Well, it'd be out on the pavement as well. I've seen it. These people don't get far before they're making their street pizza.
God, it sounds classy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It is meant to be a classy restaurant, is it?
No, not at all.
No. Okay.
I mean,
you worked your way back down the ladder.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, the job was supposed to be a placeholder, and then I just got locked in there. And I'm not going to pretend like I've got anything nice to say about it.
No.
That's going to be my first port of call when I fucking get back, is hurriedly smash my notice in, because I know that I will not be able to work there too long without putting a gun in my fucking mouth.
Are you going to do that before or after you find another job?
Oh, I don't know. I'd like to say I do it before, and just be kind of really upfront and be like, yeah. But I know I'll wait till I've got something sorted out. I'd like to never go back, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I know I'll be shooting myself in the foot. But I wish I had the balls to do it that way around.
Well, if it's impractical, I get it.
No, but there's a certain satisfaction in kind of throwing something away quite so carelessly.
Yeah.
A lot of vitriol.
Have you ever not given a notice?
Yeah, that would be the call center job many years ago.
Oh yeah, well that wasn't. I mean, you were not on contract
really...
even, were you? I mean,
yeah.
I thought they stopped calling you.
That might be right, actually. Yeah, I seem to remember that I was slated for one shift, and
they took you off the rota because you wouldn't rap with them.
I mean,
you
got to
find that
surprised.
at one point. You got to find it, and we'll put it on. Damien used to work in a call center job where it was sort of. I mean, is it fair to say that it wasn't very well run, and the people who ran it were sort of more interested in just hanging out?
They
would rap to each other and record it, and it was the most dreadful rapping.
Yes, yeah.
I'm rapping. I'm rapping. I'm nanas, because I'm bananas. Rhyming bananas with nanas. Rapping. Rapping.
What?
There's a girl I know. She doesn't know me. I follow her on Facebook. We.
Well, I seem to remember, he mostly, rhymed G with G. A grand total of, I think, 6 times for reverse.
Do you know what, Damien? They gave me an ASBO order the other day, and I thought that was well out of order. I don't know. You'd have thought someone would have said well, it's okay, you shat this out, but maybe, Dizzy, now that we're spending money on doing a fucking music video, maybe change that. to something.
Nah,
That isn't the same word.
Be right.
No, who cares? Yeah. You can keep your ketamine. I still like him.
Yeah, just on the strength of that one video, though. Which is, it's good. You know, I'm not...
I liked his bonkers video where he's in the Mr. Soft world.
No, yeah.
Remember the Mr. Soft world? For Mr. Soft Mints? Mr. Soft! And it was like everything was made out of pillows, and it was very, very weird. Mr. Soft! Does anyone? I looked it
yes,
up, and
yeah.
I can't find it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's like I've also looked up for.
I've seen that.
I've also looked up direct line car insurance adverts, because there was one from my childhood which was on for years and years and years for direct line car insurance, and it was the weirdest. I mean, it wasn't a weird ad, but it was sort of the weirdest vibe where it was almost done in a documentary style where. The camera would almost be like door stopping people on their way to work. They always looked like they just got up, they were pissed off, and it was like I specifically remember a man getting into like a Ford Fiesta that looked like it was worth about 400 quid, and it was, when do I have time to shop for car insurance? And then the man was saying, like he was pissed off with the direct line people, when do I have time to shop for car insurance? Don't talk to me about car insurance. Car insurance. It was very weird. And there was another ad as well, which I've tried to look up and I can't find, for Norwich Union, which I think is like life insurance. And it was a woman working in a co-op, and she's about 40. And it's filmed in a sort of desaturated way, where it looks like really minging. And this woman's on about, I don't have to worry about anything, I'm only 19. And she tells like this story of her life and about how she never went anywhere and she still works at the co-op. And then she ends up with, I'm only 19. And like the ad's like, you're a fucking loser, aren't you? You need fucking life insurance, loser. It was the most depressing thing. I remember that growing up and thinking, I'm not going to have a job when I grow up. It's a waste of time. I'm going to be a YouTuber.
Yes,
Yes, I am going to be one.
Your
follow us on TikTok.
Prescience there was remarkable.
It was. There's going to be this thing called
Tube.
Boo or Boobity Toos or something like that. Boobity Boos, I think it might be called. It's all going to be about people making like little videos about like RoboCop talking to, you know, like puppets of RoboCop talking to things and having a laugh, and then that's going to quickly become the same old video about here's the new fucking lowdown on Black Panther 2. I know I did a video 3 days ago on it, but there's a morsel of new information, so here's another 15-minute video. Do you ever watch YouTube anymore? It's shit. Goodbye.
Is that the end?
No, I mean, it could be. Do you have anything to say about YouTube apart from it's shit?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't. It's just I'm just in agreement. Asinine. It's all pretty samey now. Nothing.
I don't. You know, I don't mind it being asinine. That's fine. It was asinine in the beginning, but it was, you know, it was Swede Mason and.
I suppose it was novel. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it was not just novel though. It was like people were doing it because they were having a laugh. They were having fun doing it, and now it's just...
It's all a bit streamlined, and...
I know what we'll do, lads. Have you ever noticed that cable TV is really boring and really bland and all the same? Well, what we'll do is we'll do exactly the same on YouTube, but everyone will make way less money from it, because there'll be way more fuckers doing it. It used to be as well that people would make like weird videos, and that would be it. And then that turned into a trend, where it would be... I'm not just going to make one video where I pour gelatin into the shape of a human hand and then like paint it with edible paint so it looks like I'm eating an actual human hand and show you how to do that. Have you seen those? Or like, I'm going to pour gelatin into the shape of a Clorox bottle and then eat it. Isn't that funny? And then I'm going to do 2,000 of those videos. It went from like, I will do one of those videos and it'll be fun and weird to this is what I'm doing now. This is my career. I can make
Yeah.
a lot of money doing this. But even that's gone now. It's just I will talk about things that much more informed people are already talking about. Better.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's just,
I think I might have just exposed myself.
It's just braying for attention for the most part. And it's obnoxious, and I find it repellent. Not...
Sponsored by Harry's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the collapse of civilization, or again, am I just an old fart?
Bit of both. It's not as it's nowhere near as baffling as Dogecoin. I think we mentioned is definitely a step in that direction. The cataclysm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's a jolly nice place to end it. Thank you very much for listening. If it hasn't come across, we do not hold ourselves in high regard. I can barely string and sentence and together. And goodbye. Say goodbye, Damien.
Oh, goodbye.